I've been thinking a lot about the people who are against guns because they are anti-violence. And I believe you when you say in your heart that you're against violence. I believe you. That's how you feel. But I would say that that stance is actually neutral. So when you look at gun violence and you say, I don't like violence, so I'm not going to take any part in that, that's actually a neutral response. Whereas if you look at the reality and say, I'm going to practice self-defense, I'm going to learn about firearms and carry them for my defense and others' defense, that is actually combating violence. Now you're actually anti-violence. And it's just it's interesting but not surprising that in this culture, self-defense is equated with violence. And what do you expect from a culture that literally committed genocide and slavery to get where it is? And I actually used to hide the fact that I carried from my friends because there's the stigma, and I didn't want people to think that I was violent. I didn't want people to be afraid of me. And the ironic thing is you're probably a little safer when you're hanging out with me, to be completely honest. But yeah, I didn't want to be seen as part of the gun problem. And I'm just not a violent person unless you come to me in a way where my life is being actually threatened, which sadly that's happened twice. One time I experienced an armed home invasion. 5 or 6 men entered the building I was in, wasn't mine, and shots were fired. And I had my gun out and I was ready to defend myself, and just thankfully I didn't need to, but I was really glad I had a gun in that moment. Because otherwise, I'm just hoping at least I had a chance. And there was another situation that was actually after a track weekend. Before I had my own trailer, I was returning a U-Haul in an area that was not that safe. It was really late, and these 5 guys approached me and they were making very explicit threats of sexual assault. And I didn't pull out my gun because it had not been escalated to that level, but I made it very clear that I had something on me and that I wasn't afraid to defend myself. And those 5 guys literally backed off because of the way I presented myself. So, this stuff is real. And I'm just saying this not because I think everyone should go out and get a gun, because it's a very demanding lifestyle and you have to be very strict in a lot of ways. But, and I don't think everyone is meant to be a fighter anyways. But just to kind of lessen the stigma around carrying, especially for women. I've been told by women that I don't need to carry because I live in a safe area. Like, okay, speak for yourself. I don't feel safe. I never have. And yeah, I don't think that people should equate self-defense to violence anymore. We don't have time for that anymore as a culture. And actually another fun fact is that ever since I started carrying, I've actually, how do I say this? I used to be very spicy. I used to be the kind of person where if you make a gross sexual comment at me in public, I'm going to say something back and kind of be heated. And also, I used to be young too. We're all humans. But ever since I started carrying, it was literally like a switch flipped. I was like, no more escalation. I'm carrying a tool that can end a life with the flick of a finger. I can't be getting into these Walmart, Pizza Hut parking lot conflicts with people anymore. So actually carrying a gun made me more disciplined and it made me stricter. And now when people disrespect me, I've found ways to let them know that that's not okay and set my boundary. But my main focus is always de-escalation and get away from them. So I hope that was interesting or insightful for some of the people out there who think differently about self-defense or gun culture in America. I usually try to use my Instagram as a place to just feel positivity about others, and I think that you guys know me as someone who's very bright and positive, but I have seen some shit. I have experienced violence more times in my life than I care to admit, and in my heart I feel really serious. And once again, if there are women out there who are in my area, I would love to just teach you about basic firearm safety and handling, take you to my range. And even if you're not ready to commit to carrying, because that's a whole thing, if you're just curious, you just want someone to talk to, like, I'm definitely here for that.